It's not, so Pie Guy, what you just said there, so I want to take a moment because I think this is a very educational moment. So what Pie Guy just said is they said, I feel like every single deck should have at least 5 to 6 sideboard answers to humans, otherwise it isn't a good deck. So that's not how you approach deck building. That is a bad way to approach deck building. The number of cards you want in your sideboard in a specific deck, you shouldn't build your deck and go, oh, I want 5 cards to beat humans because that's how many cards you need to beat humans. The number of cards in your sideboard that you need to bring in against specific decks in the format like humans depends on how many cards in your main deck are bad against humans. So well-constructed decks with well-designed sideboards and well-built 75s, you want your sideboarding to be smooth and easy. You want it to be, oh, I have 4, 5, 6, 8 cards in this matchup that are bad, and I want that same number of cards to board in from my sideboard that are good. So if you're ever struggling with like what you're supposed to bring in and what you're supposed to bring out in a given deck in a given matchup, that's generally a sign that your deck's not well built, because well-built decks are going to have easy ins and easy outs for the matchups where these cards are bad and I get to replace them with these cards that are better and actively good. So you shouldn't say, oh, I need X cards to beat this matchup. It should be, oh, I look at this deck. So like, let's look at this deck, for example. So this deck, I look at this main deck and I go, I don't want my counter spells against humans. So that gives me, I have 8 cards here. Honestly, I'm not even a huge fan of Blood Moon or Cryptic Command against humans. So this deck, at a minimum, I want like 8 cards to bring in out of the sideboard against humans. And if I look at the sideboard, I really don't have 8 cards to bring in. So again, that's how you want to approach deck construction and sideboarding. You want to be thinking through your matchups, what you want to cut in those matchups, and then bringing in an appropriate amount of cards based on how many you're cutting. Yeah, that's true too, said Mephisto. If you're giving up